I've played a lot of Warzone, and you know what? There are so many things in the game that could be better, and I'm going to voice them all here. There are of course server issues and occasional problems with in-game audio, but I'm going to largely leave elements like that out of this video and focus more on the core elements that they've intentionally built into the game. The only outside intentional functions of Warzone that I'll mention are in the first 3 topics that I'm going to bring up. So off the bat, a massive problem with Warzone is hackers. Obviously this is a huge problem, and it's probably the one thing in this video that we'll all agree on. It's ruining the game for many people, and it's not like it's a rare occurrence to run into hackers. It's been going on for months, and they're everywhere. The solution clearly isn't easy. Infinity Ward has already banned hundreds of thousands of accounts, but the problem is, it's so easy to create another account and start doing it again. Call of Duty actually did introduce easier ways to report hackers, and that helped a little bit. Additionally, Infinity Ward did post on Twitter on the 24th of July regarding hacking, where they said basically, don't cheat because we'll ban you. So nothing new has changed really. For short-term help for Xbox players, they could help them out and allow them to disable crossplay on Warzone like you can on PS4, but of course this isn't a real proper solution to the problem. Really, the only way to eradicate cheating and hacking is to invest properly into people that can set up optimized detection systems and perhaps some sort of controls over third-party plugins and influencing softwares. I'm by no means an expert, but it can absolutely be done with the right resources, which is why large-scale hacking and cheating on other games has largely been eradicated. Okay, so now on to the next problem. And this is the frequent bugs that pop up in the game, largely after updates and things like this. It's hard to fathom a game that makes literally millions upon millions, but after almost every update has something break on the game. If you go to pull out a heartbeat sensor today, there's a high chance that the first time you do in a match, you'll freeze for like 3 or 4 seconds. This will be patched for sure, but then it'll just be something else on the next update that'll break. You are aware at one point during this game, we had literal choppers flying under the map, with people still allowed to kill us from there. Just gonna reiterate that. How does this even happen? I guess the solution is to have more people creating the updates and testing it before it goes live. I find it hard to believe these bugs are inescapable. The final problem that's not part of the intentional built-in gameplay is the tracking of challenges. It's so inconsistent, particularly for unlocking weapons, which is kind of a big deal when they make such meta must-have weapons, such as the Grau and Bruin, only available through completing challenges. Okay, so if you spam enough shipment games, you'll eventually complete all of these challenges, so who cares, right? But for people who only have Warzone and not the full Modern Warfare game with multiplayer, it can basically be hell on earth. Imagine grinding in a game for 20 minutes only for your kills not to count. They have to fix this problem or people are just gonna lose interest. The way to solve this tracking problem is again with the coding of the actual game, and I really believe they could fix it pretty quickly if it was higher on their priorities, or they just had a larger team. It just feels crazy that this has been a consistent problem on Warzone for months, and there's no real support for it. Okay, deep breath. Hackers and bugs have been covered, we're doing pretty well. Now let's look at the stuff that is actually intentionally in Warzone, which in my opinion are very problematic. Let's go. Let's talk about skill-based matchmaking. For those of you that don't know, this is essentially a system built into the game that matches people of similar ability against each other. This is the reason why you may feel like you're not quite getting better, but the reality is you probably are, it's just that the people you play against are now better too. So I know this is a contentious issue, but hear me out. Okay, so having skill-based matchmaking in the game does protect the lower strata of players and allows them to have a bit of fun, right? But it's kind of hard for some of these players to actually improve with this in place. But the biggest issue I see with it is when you play with friends of varying abilities. Having a friend play with me who isn't great at all of a sudden has a massive jump in quality in his lobbies, and they really struggle. It can get to a point where lower skilled players actually don't even want to play with their higher skilled friends anymore because they just get fried in all their lobbies. If there was no skill-based matchmaking at all, every lobby would be random, so it wouldn't matter who you teamed up with. Another point on skill-based matchmaking is that it essentially makes every game and lobby sweaty, and it's hard just to relax in a game. This is where my solution comes in for this, and that's simply to put in a ranked play or a competitive mode. If you want sweaty games where you're going at it at 100% in a competitive environment, then it absolutely makes sense just to separate this into its own ranked mode like many other games have. The next problem I see in Warzone is the heartbeat sensor. This little device makes it almost impossible to do well without the ghost perk equipped, basically meaning you need a loadout or you're not going to win, and it essentially means you can't use any other perk too. To make the heartbeat sensor less powerful, they could make it so it expires after a certain amount of uses, perhaps 3 or 5 uses, I don't know. I mean, we don't get to throw endless stuns or flashes, so why would this piece of equipment get endless uses? Maybe it could be on the narrative that it runs out of battery or something like that. All I know is it's insanely overpowered and it gives ridiculous levels of advantages to people without earning it, which doesn't set a good precedent. You know what else is a problem in my eyes on Warzone? The map is pretty much the same as it was on the day it was released. Maybe other games like Fortnite have spoiled us by constantly changing their map and weapons, but I literally couldn't believe Warzone didn't change in Season 3 or 4. Obviously Season 5 is just around the corner, so hopefully we do get some map changes. Some people actually think a nuke is going to go off, and maybe there'll be some sort of train that constantly travels around the map, but this is just speculation for the most part currently. The map is really causing stagnation in gameplay right now, and there's a simple solution: change the map. Personally, I think the focus on promoting the next Call of Duty game through Warzone has slowed any potential map changes right down, as they seem to be waiting for a big paradigm shift before committing to anything. But come on, give us something more than just a paywall behind a Captain Price skin. So that was a fairly quick one, but here is what I think is the main gameplay problem with Warzone today, and that's time to kill and camping. They go hand in hand for me. So camping has always been a part of shooters and always will be, but some games encourage this more than others by dynamics within the game, and Modern Warfare is one of these games that encourage it. So the time to kill is really quick, even with armor, which means you rarely have the opportunity to outgun people who don't even have a particularly good gunshot if they shoot you from the side or the back. This means people are really afraid to run out in the open and go through the map like they'd normally like to, so people just camp until they have to move. This problem is within the actual Modern Warfare game, of course, so maybe when the next Call of Duty installment comes out, there may be an overhaul of Warzone via the new COD game and things will change. Ways to improve this generally from my point of view are: first of all, make weapons that aren't as accurate, maybe with bouncier recoil so it's much harder just to put people down at a distance like it's nothing. This keeps the core dynamics of the game the same, but would reward people with a particularly good shot. Just look at the ground, its recoil is so little anyone can use it and absolutely beam people. Number 2, maybe reduce the number of completely open expanses around the map. Sure, keep some of these areas open to add to the map variety, but maybe also put some debris around so people can actually take cover more and have a chance of surviving if you're going to be out running in the open. My third and final suggestion would be to have a perk unlock system as you damage or kill more people. For example, you get 3 kills or 500 damage, you get to equip your perk of choice that you chose before the match started. This would mean people are actually encouraged to move around the map and be aggressive, as players would be rewarded for getting kills and putting themselves at risk. At the moment, there's no incentive to put yourself out there. Oh yeah, I have one final problem with Warzone that I just have to mention, and that's climbing up f***ing rocks. Just a quick disclaimer before I go. These are all just my opinions and thoughts. I'm not even necessarily saying I'm right. This video is more to start a discussion and a debate around some of these subjects. I'm totally open to hearing your opinions and getting your perspective, as perhaps it's something I haven't even thought about before. I apologise if some parts seemed a little bit ranty, but I love this game and it has potential to be so much better. Are there problems that you think are in Warzone that I've missed? If so, post them in the comments below. But that's all from me in this video. If you did like it, then hey, just a suggestion, give it a like. And if you want to see more Call of Duty videos, you should really subscribe. Alright, see ya!